96.7 KCAL rocks. One of my favorite parts of a Monday is getting on our sports with our guy, Pep. What's going on, Pep?
Hey guys, you know for sure, you better believe we're going to talk about the Clippers and NBA playoffs. But first, a quick shout out to Jon Rahm, who won the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines down there in the San Diego area yesterday. $2 million plus for winning it. And the reason I bring him up, because we talked about this guy, if he sounds familiar and just a casual golf fan, about 2 weeks ago we brought up Jon Rahm because he was the guy who was disqualified from a PGA tournament event, the Memorial, for COVID. He was leading after 3 rounds. He was on pace to make about $1.5 million, upwards of $2 million for winning this tournament, and he tested positive, and they disqualified him. So he bounces back 2 weeks later, and he wins a major. Congrats to your boy, Jon Rahm.
It's nice to see him bounce back this quickly because, it could be years before you win a tournament or do anything. That's the way golf is, and that could easily become a mental thing. He was so close, and he could let that ruin everything. And it looks like he hasn't.
I think this goes to show you COVID makes you a better golfer.
Maybe.
Hey, way to go.
Hones you in.
Man, in his case, it did. He tested positive, which he was asymptomatic. He didn't know he had it, but he tested positive. They disqualified him. He sat out, came back, and wins a major. So, and a nice payday, too.
Does this give Chris Paul some hope?
Hopefully, right?
Coming back, he can be better.
Even better.
Hey, 40, perfect segue, because we did have Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals yesterday. Chris Paul out because of COVID protocol. Kawhi Leonard out because of the knee injury. And it was the Phoenix Suns beating the LA Clippers. Final score 120-114. So Phoenix, even without their great star, Chris Paul, able to beat the Clippers without their big star, Kawhi Leonard.
It kind of evened it up, though, a lot. The game was very tight the entire time, back and forth. I was like, you take out Kawhi, you take out Chris Paul. It actually evens it up a little bit, other than Devin Booker.
Right up until the very end, yeah. It was a really close game, and then just at the very end, the Phoenix Suns were able to just get hot.
Yep, it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, Devin Booker, man. That guy can do everything on the basketball court. He was already a great player, great scorer, but I felt like he elevated his game knowing that Chris Paul was out. He was getting other people involved. He was rebounding the basketball. He was doing everything. In fact, if Chris Paul's number 1, then Devin Booker's number 2 on the Suns. And if you look at the Clippers, if Kawhi Leonard's number 1, then Paul George is number 2. Well, Booker outplayed Paul George. And I feel like that was probably the difference in that game. Paul George wasn't bad, but Booker was just better.
Also, the guy who filled in for Chris Paul, I'm forgetting his first name. I know his last name is Wright. He also hit a bunch of threes and distributed the ball. He did very well also. He's the guy who got whacked on the beak by Djokovic before the big, get him out of the game thing.
Yeah, Phoenix is a bunch of guys that, they're not exactly household names, but they're a good team. And we saw this, remember, going back to the NBA bubble last year when we wrapped up the regular season. They were pretty good, and we thought, okay, maybe this is just a bubble thing, right? It's only going to happen in the bubble. They're not really that good. No, Phoenix is that good, and the LA Clippers, I think, need Kawhi back. And what I'm concerned about is even if Kawhi comes back, I don't think he's going to be 100%. Like, how much of Kawhi are you going to get if he does come back?
Oh, boy, I don't know. It seems like it is bad. And also, Phoenix's big man, DeAndre Ayton, or whatever his name is, he is a nightmare, too. He's a tough matchup.
Ayton's a big problem, big-time problem for the LA Clippers. So we got Clippers Suns in the West. Over in the East, real quick, I thought it was going to be like the Brooklyn Nets against the number 1 seed 76ers in the finals. Oh, no. We're getting the Milwaukee Bucks against the Atlanta Hawks in the finals. And our guy, the former LA Clippers head coach, Doc Rivers, blowing it in Game 7. And listen, Philadelphia fans are ruthless. 40-year Eagles fan, you know this. It's going to be a very rough Monday for 76ers fans as they hop on sports talk radio and all the newspapers and all that stuff. It's going to be bad in Philadelphia today.
I am an Eagles fan, but I'm not a 76ers fan. But just in the Eagles stuff I follow, there is so much venom for the 76ers, the team. They're saying they're going to have an uglier offseason than the Eagles did.
No, they're going to direct their hate at Ben Simmons when he had that layup and he dished it off basically to not get fouled and be forced to go to the free throw line Philadelphia decided, we're going to eat you now.
A lot of people would like to add the fact that Ben Simmons wears a shooting sleeve to Alanis Morissette's ironic song.
Yeah,
it's bad for him. They're going to go after him and eat him alive. He's toast.
You're right. Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons are going to be enemy number one in Philadelphia today. Again, you bring in Doc Rivers, trying to get Philadelphia to the NBA Finals. You're the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. The Brooklyn Nets, on the other side of the bracket, they're all beat up. You're like, if you're Philadelphia, you're like, this is our year. If we can get past Milwaukee, we're gonna get to the finals. Didn't happen.
Yeah, and Embiid is doing all he can. It's like, somebody just help him out a little bit. But, I mean, they're going to get torched because, basically you have a guy, Ben Simmons, out on the floor who's afraid to shoot. And you can't have that.
Now, maybe controversial opinion here, but I think the East Side playoffs just got a lot more fascinating with the Brooklyn Nets being out.
Yeah, it changed it up.
Way more into that series than I would have been.
Okay. Now, did you guys watch that Brooklyn at the end of regulation when KD hit that shot? Yes. I didn't know his toe was on the line. I was like, oh my God, KD just killed him again. But his big, huge foot was on the line. He did all he could, KD.
Brooklyn was literally, you bring that up, Patrick, they were literally inches away from advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals, but it was a two-pointer which tied the game, sent them to overtime, and then eventually lost to the Bucks.
Now, somebody pointed out to me, I'm not sure if this is true or not, does KD wear a size bigger shoe for comfort?
Huh. I don't know.
Somebody pointed out that he likes to wear a size bigger shoe than he needs to because of comfort. Like I said, that might just be something going around, but that's something I'd heard.
And his foot is already huge.
Right.
So, that size, it could cost him if he is going to size up.
I know, right? He's probably thinking, man, I should not have done that. I should have worn my normal shoes this game.
Don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah. Guys, to baseball, the Dodgers swept awful Arizona. The Dodgers won 9-8 yesterday, but here's the deal. The Arizona Diamondbacks have lost 17 straight games, and they have lost 40 of their last 45 Major League Baseball games. That is historically bad right now.
What happened? They just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, actually, they weren't. When you go to April, they weren't bad. And then May, it starts turning a little bit. And they went from, bad to, extremely awful, historically the worst team ever, in a snap, it just happened.
You know what it is, 40? It's spider tack. They took the spider tack away, another terrible. And getting injured and turning their feelings, too.
Man, yeah, something happened. Someone found their kryptonite. You know what I mean? They are just bad. Yes. So the Dodgers, of course, sweep them. And 17 straight losses. I do want to say Albert Pujols, 6th home run with the Dodgers. He's having a great season so far since joining the Dodgers. And finally, Shohei Ohtani, homers all weekend, basically. He's got 23 homers that ties for the MLB lead.
It's just crazy that he's going to have 23, possibly more, and we're not even to the All-Star game yet. So, he could really do something special this year. If he has a back half of the season like the front half of the season, we've never seen anything like this.
Has anybody checked on Mike Trout? Is he doing okay?
I think they're Angels are winning.
I haven't heard a lot of fish talk lately.
Right? Maybe they're maybe trade him. Maybe trade him for half a team.
I'm not saying the Angels are better without Mike Trout, but they are definitely playing good, and Shohei Ohtani is definitely leading the way.
Definitely. Now, what about Shohei Ohtani doing the home run derby, too? That's big news. My kid is pumped about that. I predict that the East Coast is finally going to get a look at this big guy, and they're going to be like, wow, he is good.
Well, he definitely deserves to be there, and I think people will tune in to watch him hit home runs. I will. I know for that for sure. The problem is people who go into the home run derby, there's this curse, this stigma that after the home run derby, you're not the same hitter. You change the mechanics of your swing, and you either get injured or you can no longer hit home runs or you're not a productive hitter. So there's this thing that if you go into the home run derby, you're not as good when you come out of it. So that I think there's a little bit of concern maybe for Angel fans knowing Ohtani will be in the home run derby.
I think he's so good it doesn't matter.
I hope so.
You know what I mean? I think he's going to treat this like batting practice. I predict he's going to hit a lot of home runs because he just has that natural swing that just, boom. I think he can put it out easy.
I say we get him the hell out of this thing then if that's the case. Let's figure out a way to save him. Save Ohtani.
Let's save Ohtani. We need the t-shirt. Pep, tell them how to get your stuff.
Hey guys, check out Inland Sports all over social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the Inland Sports YouTube channel. Still high school sports, still celebrating our CIF champions in baseball and softball. And we got regionals this week. One more week of high school sports before the summer hits.
Thanks, Pep.